This was the height of it. I've warned Karen about her little wannabe stormtroopers and how they've been overreaching with the so-called authority they parade around with like toddlers in their daddy's uniforms. Nobody listened. They smiled, nodded, and whispered that I was overreacting. But now, I'm done talking. I'm done warning. I'm going to make every single one of them pay the price they never thought they'd owe. Now let's rewind a little bit. Welcome to Prodigy Tales. Make sure you like and subscribe for your top-notch HOA drama. Karen woke up one morning, looked out her window, and decided the neighborhood didn't feel safe enough. Instead of hiring real security like any logical human being, she summoned four criminal-looking dudes with bulky tactical vests, dark sunglasses, and enough ego to power a small city. They strutted around like mall cops who just watched one too many action movies, gripping radios like they were FBI agents about to take down a cartel. I told Karen at the HOA meeting, as calmly as I could, if safety is your concern, hire professionals, not thugs playing soldier. She didn't just shrug me off, oh no. She smirked, crossed her arms, and said maybe I was sympathizing with potential threats. That day, I knew she wasn't just clueless, she was dangerous. Still, I tried to mind my own business. I mowed my lawn, painted my porch, paid my dues, and stayed in my lane. But every morning, those fake officers patrolled by my house, giving me the kind of look you give someone you already decided is guilty. It was like living in a low-budget dystopian film, directed by Karen herself. She even handed them HOA-branded badges, like she was knighting them to tyranny. Before we dive in deeply, let us know in the comments what country or which city you're watching this story from. We'd love to know how far this story travels. My fiancée, Sarah, always visited me at my house. Every time she walked past those so-called HOA officers, I noticed their lips curl into these creepy smirks, like they were silently plotting something. They'd stand a little taller, nudge each other, whisper, and stare like she was some prize they could just claim. Sarah told me one afternoon, her voice shaky but trying to stay brave, "They make me uncomfortable. They don't look at me like normal people do." I hugged her, kissed her forehead, and said, "Nothing's going to happen to you. I won't let it." I meant every word, but a promise means nothing when evil already has a plan. Days rolled by, and their stares got bolder. They didn't even try to hide it anymore. Leaning against their SUV with camouflage vests and smug faces, they'd track her with their eyes like predators in plain sight. I went straight to Karen's house, knocked on her perfectly polished door, and when she answered, I told her exactly what her minions were doing, how they were giving Sarah disgusting looks and making her feel unsafe. She laughed, then said I was being dramatic, that I'd never liked her security team, and maybe I was just jealous of real authority. Real authority? These clowns couldn't spell authority if you spotted them the first 6 letters. I walked away from her porch that day with one thing clear in my mind. Karen wasn't just ignoring the problem, she was feeding it. So I stopped trying to convince anyone. I kept my guard up. Every time Sarah visited, I'd walk her to the gate, wait until she left, and make sure those creeps kept their distance. My fists stayed clenched, my jaw tight, my patience thinner than a sheet of glass. Because deep down, I knew something was coming. I just didn't know when or how bloody it would get. That night started quiet, too quiet. I walked Sarah to the gate like I always did, her hand in mine, streetlights flickering above us. I kissed her goodbye, told her to text me when she got home, and started walking back. But halfway down the road, something in my gut twisted. Call it instinct or raying for a reason. I turned around and sprinted back toward the gate. That's when I saw them. 3 of Karen's uniform-wearing attack dogs had cornered Sarah beside their HOA patrol SUV. One blocked her path, another grabbed her wrist when she tried to pull away, and the third leaned in close, whispering something that made her face go pale. She shoved him back and yelled, "Don't touch me!" But they only smirked, closing in tighter like they owned the street and the people on it. Before I even thought, I was already moving. I ripped the nearest one by the collar and slammed my fist into his jaw. He dropped like a sandbag. The other 2 lunged at me, like barking orders like fake cops in a bad movie. I didn't care. I threw punches, elbows, whatever I had. All I wanted was Sarah safe behind me. But rage can't beat numbers. They tackled me to the ground. Boots slammed into my ribs, fists cracked against my face. One of them snarled, "You think you can disrespect us, hero?" Another spat, "Control your woman before we do." My vision blurred, but I still roared back, "Touch her again and I'll bury you." They laughed. Then they kicked harder. Through the ringing in my ears, I heard Sarah screaming my name and begging them to stop. My blood pooled on the pavement. One of them leaned down and whispered, "You're not as tough as you act." Then, headbutt. Darkness almost swallowed me whole, and that's when headlights flashed. My neighbor Sam pulled up, slammed his door, and shouted, "Hey, what the hell are you doing?" His phone was already at his ear, 911. Everything froze. But this was only the fuse. The explosion hadn't even begun yet. Sirens echoed through the neighborhood like Judgment Day had clocked in for a night shift. Red and blue lights washed over the perfect hedges and freshly painted fences the HOA worshipped so much. Karen stormed out of her house in silk pajamas and fury, screeching, "They're HOA security. They're allowed to do that." But the real cops didn't even blink. They shoved her back and went straight for her muscle-bound minions, who were still trying to wipe my blood off their boots. Sarah clung to me, shaking, tears streaking her face, while Sam showed the officers the video he recorded. Every punch, every threat, every word. One officer looked at the screen, then at the three HOA thugs and said coldly, "You're done." Handcuffs snapped shut. No more swagger. No more sunglasses, just fear. Karen lunged forward, screaming lawsuits and "I run this neighborhood," as if that line would erase the federal assault charges stacking against her. The sheriff looked her dead in the eye and said, "Ma'am, you're under arrest for obstruction and employing unlicensed armed personnel." The neighborhood watched from porches like it was the Super Bowl. Someone even whispered, "Finally." Sarah squeezed my hand as Karen was dragged into a squad car, still shrieking about bylaws and authority. Her so-called officers were shoved into the back of police SUVs, faces swollen, pride shattered. Ambulance lights flashed as paramedics lifted me onto a stretcher. Sarah walked beside me, holding my hand like she'd never let go again. Neighbors followed in stunned silence. Some apologized, some recorded, some cried. But one thing was clear. Karen's empire was crumbling faster than her fake eyelashes in the rain. The next morning, news vans lined the street. Headlines exploded. HOA president arrested after vigilante security assaults residents. Karen's face was everywhere, mascara streaked, furious, humiliated. In court, the judge made an example of every one of them. The ringleader of the HOA security, Ethan Cole, was sentenced to 18 years in state prison for aggravated assault, impersonating an officer, and unlawful detainment. His two accomplices, Marcus Hale and Tyler Briggs, received 15 years and 12 years in prison for aiding the attack and conspiracy. Karen, the HOA president who funded, approved, and covered up their actions, was sentenced to 10 years in federal prison, fined $200,000, and permanently banned from holding any HOA or community authority position again. The remaining board members weren't spared. They received 5 years probation, mandatory community service, and now face multiple civil lawsuits from homeowners. The end. Please like and subscribe for more HOA showdowns like this. Do you think she got what she deserves? Comment below.